Hello everyone, welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time on my channel, please kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe and ensure you put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you, I appreciate. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with us how to make this beautiful gown you see right here on your screen. See how it sits very well on the mannequin, so you can imagine what it would look like on the human. This is very beautiful and very simple to make. I hope this is something you're interested in learning. Please make sure to keep on watching till the end. Thank you, and let's get started. I'll be making use of these materials for this project. And here is an African print, which is also known as Ankara. And then this is the shirt material we'll be combining with it. We'll have the shirt at the upper area, that's from the shoulder to above the chest line, and we'll also have it at the pocket area. So to get started, the measurements needed will appear on your screen. So having seen the measurements we're going to be working with, we'll go ahead and start drafting. We'll be drafting the bustier first and then the flare before we'll draft the shirt part, that's the upper part. So I'm going to set the shirt material aside and we'll go ahead and start drafting the upper part. So to determine the amount of fabric to fold for the upper part, I'm going to use the biggest measurement, which is the bust. That's the biggest measurement at the upper part, that's the half length. And the bust is the biggest measurement, and that's 36. 36 divided by 4, that will give me 9 inches. I'll add 4 inches to that measurement for my dart intake. So I'm going to fold over 13 inches. So here I've folded over my fabric and I have about 13 inches here. So first I'm going to draw the starting line. Now we have an upper part which is going to be the shirt material. So I'm going to subtract the measurement of that upper part from this measurement. So this is more like an off-shoulder bustier. So for the upper part, I'm going to have 6 inches. Okay. So all my measurements will start from minus 5.5. Listen to what I said. I said for the upper part, we're going to have 6 inches, but all my measurements will start from minus 5.5. This is because I'm adding half inch to it. I'll be using it to join the upper part. So I'm going to be placing my tape from minus 5.5, or you place your tape exactly on 6 inches, and then when you finish you go ahead and add your half inch at the upper part. So whichever one you are comfortable with, that's fine. So here I'm going to place my tape from minus 5.5. Then I'm going to mark the bust point. The bust point of my client is 10 inches, so I'll mark 10 inches here. Next is the under bust point, which is 13 inches. Next is the half length, and that's 16 inches. I'll add half inch to it for joining the down part, so that's 16.5. So I'll rule out all my lines. Here is the starting line, which is from minus 5.5. This is the bust line, this is the under bust line, and this is the waistline, which is the half length. So from the folded part here, this is the folded part, I'm going to measure the nipple to nipple of my client, which is the bust pan. The nipple to nipple of my client is 7 inches. When you divide 7 by 2, that gives you 3.5 plus half inch, so that will be 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches across all the lines. Ruler to connect the points. So this is what we have. So having done that, here I'm going to come here. This is the bust line. Let's label it B, UB, and then waist, so it's easy for recognition. So now we're going to do our dart intake. This is the under bust line and this is the waistline. On this side of the nipple to nipple measurement, I'm going to mark 1 inch. I'll mark the same 1 inch on the waistline. I'll repeat the same thing on this side. I'll mark 1 inch and then mark 1 inch as well here. So that's a total of 2 inches, 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side too. I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points. And then I'm going to bring in my armhole curve and then connect from the bust point to this point. But before I do that, on the bust point line, I'll come down by half of an inch. This is to avoid any pointiness. So I'm going to place my armhole curve to touch this half inch mark I have here and then the under bust dart intake here. And then next, I'm going to place my armhole curve again this way and connect the points too like this. So now this is it. Okay, so next I will go up by half inch from the bust point also. I'll go up by half inch here. And then at this point, this is the obviously the over bust line. I'm just going to mark half inch on this point. That's at the center piece here. Then at the side piece here also I'll mark half inch. And then I'll use my armhole curve and connect it. take note of the way I'm placing my cuff. I'm making sure that it's touching the half inch that I've taken on both sides, and I'm making sure that it touches the half inch I came up from the bust point also. So I'm just going to connect like this, and then I will connect also. So this is it. That's it. So next I'm going to enter all my horizontal measurements. So on the bust line, the bust measurement of my client is 9 inches. So 36 divided by 4, that's 9 inches. So I'll mark 9 inches here. I add my 2 inches for sewing allowance. And then I also need half inch to join the center piece and the side piece. I'll replace back that 1 inch. That's half on this side, half on this side. So that's 1 inch. So I'm marking 1 inch extra. Then the underbust measurement of my client is 7 inches. That's when you divide by 4. 28 divided by 4 is 7 inches. So I'll mark 7 inches here. The dart intake I have here on the underbust is 2 inches. I'll replace the 2 inches back. And then add my 2 inches for sewing allowance. And then add 1 inch for joining center and side. And then the waist measurement at our half length is the same measurement. The underbust and the waist measurement are the same. So I'm just going to measure everything I have here and bring it down here. So if your waist measurement is different, please enter accordingly. So but for my client it's the same. So that's why there's no need to recalculate. Okay. So here we are. So here on this line, which is like the overbust line, I'm going to do this now. This is what we're going to do. Now the armhole of my client is 7.5 inches. How did I come about the armhole of my client? The bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. So that gives us 7.5 inches. So meaning that part of our armhole will be on this part, because remember that we started our measurement from minus 5.5. So that means we are still looking for 2 inches that will be part of this measurement that we are working with here. Okay, so now this is very simple. Her shoulder measurement is 15 inches. 15 divided by 2, that's 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to get where I have 7.5 here. I'll mark 7.5 here at this point. So remember, I have a dart intake of 1 inch. You need to replace it because by the time I cut this out, we're going to have a shortage. I'll replace that 1 inch. My dart intake of 1 inch has been replaced. So after replacing it, remember I have to join them together. I'll join them together with half inch. So by joining them together with half inch on this side, half inch on this side, that's going to still be a shortage. You need to replace back that 1 inch as well. So after replacing that back, this is exactly what I need. Okay, this dress is not going to have a sleeve, so I don't need to add half inch for the sleeve measurement or anything. So this is where our measurement stops. So now I'm going to place my tape on same minus 5.5 and then mark on 7.5 inches. Can you see that? Which is the armhole measurement of my client. Okay, so placing my tape from minus 5.5, which all our measurements started on 5.5. So I'm marking on 7.5 inches, which is our armhole measurement. Okay, so I'm just going to connect this. So can you see? So this is where the armhole is. So this is where our measurement stops. So I'm just going to connect it like this. So it is really, really simple. So that's just it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to take away the difference between the front and back half length of my client. For my client, her front half length is 16 inches, while the back half length is 15. So that's a difference of 1 inch. So I'll come here to the side at this down part. I'm going to mark 1 inch. From the waistline, I went up by 1 inch. This is eliminating the difference between the front and back. So I'm going to mark it here and stop here at this first dark leg. Can you see it's at the side piece only? So this is it. So right now we are done with our front piece. I'll bring in my scissors and we'll cut it out. Okay, so we take out our dart, and this is what our front piece looks like. We have the center piece, and this is it, and we have our two side pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to mark the wrong side so we know which side is the wrong side of our fabric. So I'm going to fold over so that we can cut the back. I've gone ahead to fold my fabric. This is our center back here. First, I drew the starting line, and this starting line is exactly the same thing as the front, which is from minus 5.5 inches, which is 5.5. Okay, and then next, I went ahead to mark the back half length. Remember, I said the back half length is 15 inches plus half inch. We need half inch to join the flare at the down part, so that's 15.5. So this is our starting line, and this is the waistline. Having marked that, here I have a line here, and you can see that from the center back, I measured 1.5 inches. This is for my zip allowance. We're going to have a zipper at the back of this outfit. Okay, so now having done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the bust pan, which is the nipple to nipple. And the nipple to nipple already I said is 3.5 inches. That's 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5 inches. So I'll mark exactly 3.5 inches. At the back, I'm not adding half inch. So I'll mark 3.5 inches. So next, I'm going to get the armhole line. So remember my tape, I placed my tape from minus 5.5. So I'm going to mark on 7.5 inches, which is the armhole. That's the armhole line, which is 7.5. So this is 7.5 here. Okay. So now I'm just going to draw this line across so that we have it. This is also the chest line. So I'll also mark the same bust pan measurement, which is 3.5. I'll mark 3.5 here. I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect the points. And then from this chest line, I will come down by half inch. This is to mark the back waist dart. So I came down by half inch. So on this line, I'm going to take half inch on both sides of the line. Half inch here and half inch here. And then I'll use my straight ruler to connect it to the half inch mark I came down from the chest line. So this is our back dart. Very simple. Okay. So now having done that, here on the chest line, I'm going to measure half of the shoulder measurement. Already I said the shoulder measurement is 15, so half of it is 7.5. I'm not adding half inch to it because it's going to be a sleeveless outfit. So I'm using exactly the shoulder measurement. Okay, so next thing I want to do is to create the curve of the armhole. So to do that, I'm going to enter the bust measurement divided by 4 on this line, which is 9 inches. So this is our 9 inches here. And then I'll go ahead and curve the armhole. So you can see that the remaining part of the armhole will come from the shirt material. Okay, so next I'll go ahead and enter my sewing allowance. So I'll be adding a sewing allowance of 2 inches at the back. Remember, at the back we don't have too many joinings like the front. So I'm just adding my 2 inches for sewing allowance. And then here on the waistline, I'm going to enter the waist measurement divided by 4, and that's 7. So plus my 1 inch for that, you have to replace it back. I'll enter that 1 inch, and then I'll enter my 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then we'll connect it like this. It's very simple. So here at the center back, we're going to need to tighten the center back to eliminate any form of zipper bulge. So at this zip allowance I have here, which is 1.5, I will come in by half inch. And then I'll slant this half inch all the way to the starting point. Can you see? So we'll be cutting out this to eliminate any form of zipper bulge, okay? So this is what our back looks like. So we'll go ahead and cut it out. So now we have our 2 back pieces, and this is what our back looks like. So it's now time for us to draft the upper part before we go ahead and draft the down part, which is the flare. So to draft the upper part, which is going to be the shirt part, the measurement needed is your shoulder measurement or the shoulder measurement. And here the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So I'm going to place 7.5 on fold. So here I have 7.5 on fold. So next I'm going to draw the starting line, which is the shoulder line. So this is the shoulder line. So now remember that when we're drafting the upper bodies or the bustier, I told us that the shirt material is going to take 6 inches. And that's why I started taking my measurement from minus 5.5. Minus 5.5 because I need half inch to join it to the upper part. So by the time I stitch with half inch, that automatically takes us to our 6 inches. So that extra half inch I added is for my sewing allowance. So that's why I use minus 5.5. So the shirt part, that's this part of the material, is going to take 6 inches. So here now, I will need to add half inch for joining it to the down part. So that will be 6.5. I hope you understand that. This is going to be 6.5. So I'll place my tape from the starting point and mark on 6.5. So plus that means I have half inch for joining it to the down part. So by the time we join half inch here, that will bring us to 6 inches exactly. Okay? So I'm just going to straighten out the lines here. So now on this starting line, which is the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the neck width. I'll be working with a neck width of 3 inches. So I'll mark 3 inches here from the folded part. And here we have half of the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. So at this shoulder measurement, I will come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. Then I'm going to connect it to the neck width here. So here at this point where I have my 6.5, I'm going to also mark half of the shoulder measurement. And then I will also connect it to this point. Next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my front pieces. Okay, so this is our center front piece. I'm going to place it half-inch above this line, which is the half-inch I'm going to be using to join them together. This is so that we can reshape the armhole and get the accurate armhole. So I'm just going to pin it down center front to make sure that it aligns with the center front. So then I'll place the side here also. I need half-inch to join them together. So I'm going to place the sewing allowance on top of each other. This is for us to get the accurate measurement. So I'll place it this way. Take note that I placed it half-inch above this ending line here. This is because that's my sewing allowance. Okay, so now from the shoulder slant, I'm going to go ahead and reconfirm the armhole measurement. So remember I said that the armhole measurement of my client is 7.5 inches, but this outfit is a sleeveless outfit. So I'm going to be reducing that measurement by half inch. This is so that it doesn't, when we're going to attach a sleeve, the armhole is supposed to be bigger. But because it is sleeveless, it needs to fit in more. That is why at the shoulder measurement here, I use exactly her shoulder measurement without adding half inch for joining sleeve. So for the armhole now, I'm going to reduce it by half. So instead of using 7.5, I'll be using 7 inches. So from the shoulder slant now, I'm going to mark on 7 inches. And you can see that it's exactly on the line where I marked initially at the side. That is why when I placed my tape from that minus 5.5, I marked exactly on 7.5 inches. So that means it didn't add extra half inch to it. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now this is it. So this is the line. We're working exactly with the armhole line here. So I'll get the midpoint of the armhole line. Please don't be confused. It didn't change anything. It still maintained the same armhole line. If you follow everything I'm doing exactly the same, you will get the same result or a perfect result. So here is the midpoint of the armhole, which is 3.5. At this 3.5, I will go in by half inch. I'll go in by half inch, and then I'll connect it back to the shoulder tip like this. And then I'll bring in my armhole curve and curve the armhole. So from this half midpoint here that I have my half inch, I'll curve it to meet this point. You see? So this is the actual armhole measurement we are working with. Please take note that I placed it half inch on top of half inch because we're going to be joining them together. This is just to enable us shape our armhole correctly. Okay? So next I'm going to mark the neck depth. And the neck depth I'll be working with is 3 inches. The neck width is already 3 inches. The neck depth is the same 3 inches. Okay? So I'll mark on 3 inches. Then I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect it. So this is what we have for our front. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So let's cut out this way first, because we're going to use this one to get the back. So we'll take out the shoulder slant. Okay, so I'll take this out. So then I will cut out like this. Go ahead and cut the neckline also. And then we're going to slash the center front. So this is it. So we're going to cut 2 pieces for each. One will serve as the lining, one will serve as the main fabric. And I'll also be cutting a placket. I'll cut out the fabric in a that's now you can see that the fabric is vertical. I'm going to cut this one horizontally, and then we'll use it to form our placket. So let's go ahead and cut the back also. So for the back, we're going to have our zipper also running on the shirt part here. So I'll bring in my back piece. So just the same thing I did in front. Remember, we started from minus 5.5. So now for the back, it's going to be 6.5. That's plus half inch, right? So I'll mark my starting line here. And then I'll measure 6.5. So this is where our 6.5 stops. Okay. So for the back, we have zip allowance. So this is it. So I'll place it half inch over it, which is the half inch we're going to be using to join them together. And then next, I'm going to mark the neck width of same 3 inches. But this zip allowance, you can see I'm going to extend the zip allowance. So we know that this point is our zip allowance. So even the zipper bulge, you have to extend to this point. So before we go ahead, let's just cut out the zipper bulge so that we have the same thing. So here, so from this center back line, I'm going to mark the neck width of same 3 inches, and then the shoulder measurement, that's 7.5, exactly 7.5. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and then I'm going to connect it like this. So I'll be using a neck depth of 1 inch at the back. So I'll mark 1 inch, and then we'll connect it like this. So we'll connect it into the zip allowance, okay? So here, the shoulder measurement, take note that this is the shoulder measurement here. So I'm just going to draw a straight line to connect this way. Can you see? So next I'll get the midpoint of the armhole also. And then I'll go in by the same half inch. The front I went in by half inch, the back I'm going in by the same half inch. This is because it's a sleeveless outfit, okay? So I'm just going in by the same half inch on both sides. So here I've connected the half inch to the shoulder tip, and then I'm going to reshape the armhole. Remember that when we're drafting the down part, we didn't shape anything. We marked exactly on the 7.5. So this is what the back looks like. Okay, so I'll bring in my scissors and cut it out. So cut out the shoulder slant, the neckline, the armhole, and then this is where the measurement stops. So I also need 2 pieces of this. One will serve as lining, one will serve as the fabric, just like I'm going to do for the front. So I'll cut them out and I'll show us how to cut our flare. So for us to cut our flare, we need to do some calculations, which is the waist circumference to get the radius of the flare. So the waist circumference we're working with is 28 inches. So and we need our side seam allowance. This flare has pockets on the sides, on the two sides. So it's going to have a joining on the side. So I'm going to add my sewing allowance. I'll be adding 2 inches to this measurement. So 28 plus 2, that will give us 30 inches. So meaning that the waist circumference we're working with now is 30 inches. Okay? So now this is our 30 inches. So 30 divided by 3.14, because it's a 180 flare, 180 degrees flare. That's what we're making. So we're going to say 30 divided by 3.14, and that will give us, so 30 divided by 3.14, that will give us 9.5, 9.55, so which is 9.5, okay? So 9.5 is the radius of the circle we're trying to create. So the next thing you need is the length of the flare. So now to get the length, we're going to say L. So to get the length, the full length of the gown is 40 inches. The full length of the gown is 40 inches. So I'm going to subtract the half length from the full length. So the half length of my client, which is her front half length, is 16 inches. So I'll say 40 minus 16, and that will give us 24 inches. So the length of the flare is 24 inches. We need 1 inch to, that's half inch to hem it at the up down part, and half inch to join it. So that's plus 1 inch. So that's 25 inches is the length of the flare. So length equal 25 inches. Length is equal to 25 inches. And the radius that we're looking for is 9 inches. So we're going to say 25 plus 9.5. And that will give us 34 inches. So in total, we're looking for 34 inches to be able to get a 180 flare for this client of mine. Okay? So here on the savage of our fabric, I'm going to measure 34.5. So from this place, from the savage here, I'm going to measure 34.5. So once I have 34.5, which is this point, I'm going to fold it like this. Okay, so here now I have a length of 34.5, and that's in 2 places. You can see it's on fold. Okay, so that's in 2 places. So the next thing I'm going to do is to form a triangle shape. So I'm going to pick this part that is open here, these 2 parts, and then I'm going to form a triangle shape. You see, I'm going to form a triangle shape like this. So you may decide to cut out your fabric so that you don't have too much fabric to work with. So here, you can see, this is it. So you can see I folded it into two like this. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the radius from the apex here. I'm going to measure the radius, and I got 9.5. So the radius here, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. So I'll connect it like this. So next I'm going to measure the length of the flare, which is 24 inches. So I'm going to measure 25 inches rather. So I'll measure 25, placing my tape from here. I'll measure 25, and I'll measure 25, 25 again. So this end, I'll go ahead and cut it out. This is what our flare looks like. Can you see? So this is it. So remember I said that we're going to have some pockets at the side here. So now this is what you're going to take note of. Can you see this part that is open here? These two parts that is open here. This is the center back. These two openings are the center back, and this is supposed to be the center front. Okay? Center front, center back. So we're going to come here at the side and cut it open so that we have our front separate from the back piece. Okay? So here I'm going to just place my fabric this way, and then I will cut open on this side. So this is it. So you can see these are two center back pieces. You see, we'll have our zipper at the center back here. So let's measure what we have here. You see, I have 9 inches here. I have 9 inches. 1 inch will be for my zip allowance, 1 inch will be for our side seam allowance. Okay, so I have 9 inches here. And then for this one, I will also have the same 9 inches. You see, it's the same 9 inches. So we're going to have our side seam here. So this is what, so this is our front. This is what our front looks like. So we're going to have our pockets here at the side in front. So we'll keep our back piece aside so that we can create the pockets. I'm going to place my fabric on fold, 7 inches on fold, and the length of the pocket is going to be 12 inches. Length of the pocket, I'll be working with 12 inches. So I need 2 of these. So these are my pockets. I'll be using these 2 as a pocket. The length is 12 inches and the width on fold is 7 inches. So I'm going to bring in the flare so that we can cut the pockets. So I'll place them right side facing right side like this. The pocket is going to be a C-cut pocket. So I'm going to come down from the pocket here, that's from the waistline. I'll come down by 7 inches. And then I will come in by 3 inches from the side. I'll use my armhole curve and then create this curved shape like this. And then I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so this is what our pockets, this is the shape where we're going to have our pockets. So I'm going to bring in my fabric, that's the check fabric, so that we can cut the pockets. That's the patch pocket that we're going to have on top of it. My fabric unfold like this, and then I'm going to place the pocket, the flare like this. So take note of what I'm doing. You want to make sure that the side, that some part of the side on the check material enters into it. This is so that you get your shape correctly. Can you see? You want to make sure that some parts are into it like this. So I'm just going to trace out this shape like this. Can you see? So I'll trace it out. So can you see that after tracing out my pocket, can you see that I have about 3 inches here? Can you see? So I'm going to trace out these 3 inches, this shape here. I want to make sure that I have up to that 3 inches. And then here too, you can see I'm tracing out the shape here. So this is it, 3 inches. So now I have 3 inches there. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the same 3 inches round. So I'll go ahead and cut out these 3 inches. Okay. So here, material aside, and I'll bring in the pocket so that we can trace out the same shape. On one side of the pocket, which is the front side of the pocket, it must still have the same shape like we have here. So this is it. So I'll place my fabric right side facing right side, like this. That's the pocket. And then I'll place the pocket like this. Now watch carefully what I'm doing, because it has to also follow the same shape. And then I'm going to trace out the pocket. Can you see? So for the other side of the pocket, all I need to do now is to just place it. Can you see what I have here? Can you see? So when we are done, we're going to trace out the excess that we have. So for the pocket, this is how I'm going to place the pocket. Right side of the pocket facing right side like this. And then we'll stitch it and turn it to the wrong side. So by the time we turn it to the wrong side, we'll now have this coming out like this. Can you see? So, and this will make up the shape. Then we'll trace out our waistline. Can you see that? So we'll now get back our shape. So to get back the shape, if you want to get it back without any delay, so I'm just going to place it here, and then I'll bring the back piece. These are center back, and this is the side back, which is the side that's going to be joined to. So I'm going to place the pockets like this. Can you see that is a flare? You see? I'm going to now trace out the side. Can you see? So this is what our pocket is going to look like. Can you see it has this flare shape? So it will just match up very well. And then the hand will just go in like this. So we are done with the cutting part of this video. In my next video, I'm going to be showing us the sewing part. So if you have watched this video up until now and you have found value and you are yet to subscribe, can you please kindly take a moment and click on the subscribe button to subscribe, and also put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Also feel free to share this video, like this video, and leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in my next one. Bye.